Hello and welcome to the In Focus series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja. So, have you read about butterfly minds? If not read, have you heard about butterfly minds? What are these? Did it ever occur to you? The name is so beautiful, butterfly minds, but they are so dangerous. Why are they so dangerous? Why are they in the news? Let us discuss everything with respect to butterfly minds that look like toys. So, butterfly minds, what are these? What is the history of it? The first time ever, when was it used? Why is it being associated with Soviet Union and Afghanistan and now Russia and Ukraine? What is their process of work? What are the impacts once they explode, because these are mines? Is it really easy to detect and disarm them? What is the problem with respect to detecting them? And the technologies, do we have any modern technologies to detect them? And what is the international law? Is there any international law with respect to butterfly mines? That will also be discussed. So a mains and pre-based question has also been attached with respect to this particular segment. What is the news? British intelligence agency says Russia is using butterfly mines against Ukraine in its war against Ukraine. So that is why we are in need to know of it. The possible areas where it is being, or it is suspected to be used, it's Donetsk and Luhansk, also Kharkiv. So these are the regions where Ukraine and Russia are heavily embroiled in military action. So we see that these are the regions where butterfly mines are suspected to be used. Why are they so dangerous? We need to know about it. First of all, butterfly mines are also known as parrots, green parrots. Okay, and these are PFM1 and PFM1S. These are two kinds of anti-personnel landmines. What are anti-personnel landmines? Anti-personnel landmines are those weapons that is used directly against humans. Like we have anti-tank missiles that is used against vehicles. Anti-personnel means anti-human. Directly it will attack on the human body. And it looks like this. This is the diagram of butterfly mines. And these mines are very attractive. And because of their color, they are certain times known as green parrots. They're attractive. Why am I saying they're attractive? Because they can attract small children who think that these are toys, and that is why it is very harmful to kids. Moving on, if I talk about their color can also vary from this green to other colors. Another very important thing about these mines, because they are such neutral colors, neutral as in they can camouflage themselves into green grass or land mud. So that is why it is very, it becomes very complicated to detect them with naked eyes. Okay, moving on, if we talk about the history of it, for the first time ever, the butterfly mines were used in 1973 during the Israeli-Syrian conflict. Okay, but it was heavily popularized by the Soviet Union when it was used in the occupation of Afghanistan. And it is said that more than 1 million butterfly mines were littering Afghanistan and were airdropped in valleys and mountain passes. Why they are done so? Why were they airdropped? Because it was done to impede the movement of Afghan Mujahideen. So still it is being said that still right now many butterfly mines are still there in Afghanistan. It is not being cleared yet. We will know why. Other uses can also be done to mine mountain passes, because they can be used for huge explosion, but it is very easy to use, very light substance. It is made up of plastic and it is very easy to use. Because of that, it can be used for these as well. To set traps for enemy soldiers, and you wouldn't know how harmful that they could be. If I talk about the structure of these butterfly mines, you see these butterfly mines look like butterfly or green parrot, and these are the two wings of butterfly mine. The thicker one is filled with explosive. Explosive are filled in the thicker one. But if I drop the butterfly mine from a height, and because of its thickness, it will explode, then what is the use of it? For that, I have thought of a stabilizer flap. This wing is lighter and flat, so it gives stabilization effect whenever I'm dropping the butterfly mine from a height. Like we have the wings of birds, they're flatter, lighter. So similarly for these as well. Moving on, Another thing that it contains of is an aluminum fuse. Now you think that this particular portion, it is made up of plastic only, so it is lighter, but it has an aluminum fuse as well. This is just 2.4 inches long, and if we talk about the width of it, then 0.7 inches at its widest part, so it is small. The weight is just 75 grams, and of that 37 gram is explosive. So you see, it is highly dangerous. And how do they work? They are dropped from a height using a dispenser. The dispenser generally consists of 34 mines. Okay, generally it consists of 34 mines. This is the average one that we know. It is protected by a metal pin so that during the handling it does not explode. And how does it work? We take these dispenser to the planned area, okay, planned location, and release them from the dispenser. The wing that I have told you, it helps the flatter, thin wing that I told you, it helps to slow down the descent. That means it can drop at a much lower rate, okay, and because of that it scatters over a large area. And then when it has done with the scattering, the locking pin is removed after the release. Locking pin gets removed and detonation occurs, and detonation can occur from a range of 0 to 40 hours as well. Okay, this can be the range, and this is known as cluster bombs. If many butterfly mines are lying together at one place, this is what we call as cluster bombs. These bombs are occurring in clusters or in groups, right? Moving on, how do they work? Another thing, from the types. There are two types, PFM1 and PFM1S. PFM1 is a very sensitive anti-personnel mine, anti-human mine, because only an applied force of 5 kg also is enough to detonate them. That means if a child is stepping upon it, 5 kg is enough for that. So child can also occur. It can be very dangerous for small children, and this can result in from the deformation of the plastic cover. That means the plastic is covering, the green plastic, if it gets deformed or distorted, if disturbance is there in its formation, then also it can detonate. So just by stepping up on it can also lead to, explosion. Then PFM1S is a self-destructive one. Okay, it self-destructs itself 24 hours after the deployment, but it's not as effective. What if the enemy is not moving during the time span when we want the PFM1S to coincide with it, right? If I go at some other time. So that is why this is less effective. Moving on. Now, during the Soviet invasion of 1978, it is said that about 30,000 Afghan civilians, including children, they were blown up by the mines, and still many mines are present in Afghanistan. This is the result you see. The child has lost his limbs because of maybe playing with that butterfly toy. So it's attractive to children, so more dangerous to them. Moving on, is it really easy to detect them and disarm them? Let's see if it is or not. Mine clearing continues to this day in Afghanistan. This sentence is enough to tell us that after 30 years, 30, 40 years, or 30, 35 years, also we are seeing that these mines have not been cleared. Also because of their small size and lightweight, because they're so small and so light, it is not, we cannot detect them as a weapon, and it can shift through natural means. As it is lightweight, what happens whenever rains occur, storms occur, these mines can altogether shift to a different place and even explode, and it is difficult to find them with the metal detector from the problem that it is made of plastic. Majorly it is made of plastic. So plastics cannot be detected from a metal detector. Secondly, because we see that if we can, for detecting aluminum, we can increase the sensitivity of the metal detector, what will happen? Another things which are not actually weapon will get detected. False positives can be occurring because of that, and that will lead to loss of time. And plastics do not corrode. That is also a problem. Because they do not corrode, what happens? They can live longer than other weapons, and they are spread on mountain passes. If traffic gets heavy, because road construction is also there and other people are also involved in construction of the road, if they get into contact with that, their life also gets threatened. Moving on, let's talk about any technology do we have for detection. Yes, we do. Not very evolved. The technology is still getting evolved, but the first thing that we can do, or we have done, is using drones with thermal technology. Drones with thermal technology are used because plastics, they can retain heat much faster, and they lose heat much slower, and because of that they can give us thermal radiation, or thermal detection can be done with respect to that. So thermal imaging cameras can be used, and even if we see them in the desert area of any region, sands of any region, we can still detect them, because for the same reason that retention and loss of heat is very different from the sand that is present. So that can also happen. Moving on, if we have to know about any international law, it is there. These butterfly mines, these are banned by International Convention on Landmines. But the problem is Russia and Ukraine are not signatories to it. A 1996 amendment protocol second to the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, that is the Landmines Protocol, which bans them, although it has been signed by Russia and Ukraine, but military conscience is so low right now with respect to any war that is going on in the world. We can see that these protocols and conventions won't work, right? Moving on to the questions. This is the prelims question. Answer it correctly. In the next segment, I am going to take your names, okay? Whoever is going to answer it correctly. Consider the following statements with respect to butterfly mines. They were used for the first time ever in the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. They are easily detected by a metal detector. We have to select which of the statements given above is or are correct. For mains-based, what are butterfly mines? Why is it such a challenge to detect and disarm such mines? Write into 150 words. 150 is enough. Okay, so that's it. Next time we shall meet again with another interesting topic. Thank you so much for watching.